If you own a BK-7m, you know that the instrument provides 4 different voices. Roland calls them parts: MBS, or manual bass; LWR, or lower; UP1, or upper part 1; and UP2, or upper part 2. These are names that are traditional on organs. When the wizard configures the BK to be controlled by a V-Accordion, it allocates UP1 and UP2 to the treble, and MBS and LWR to the bass note and chord sections of the instrument. However, if I use my BK all the time with full orchestral accompaniment, the voices MBS and LWR never get used. I would use them if I played with the track mute feature active, in which case the BK plays percussion and bass only. That is, with the orchestral sections muted, like most common drum machines. But I never play my BK in that mode, and perhaps you don't either. Well, that begs the question, aren't these MBS and LWR voices being wasted? Wouldn't it be advantageous to transfer them from the bass sections over to the treble side, where I could make good use of them? Yes, of course. That way, I could layer 4 voices in my treble melody line. In this video, I will present how you can do that. But first, I will show an example performance that takes advantage of this. Of course, I want to show off the fact that I'm using 4 voices on the treble side. So I will pick music where making many orchestral voice changes is appropriate, such as in marching band music, like the song "The Caissons Go Rolling Along." As you will see, in order to accomplish a variety of voice changes while playing, I take advantage of the saved multi-part song orchestration playing technique that you have heard me refer to in other videos. It's a technique that can be used on most modern electronic instruments, although on different models it can have different names. For example, on the FR8X and 4X, it's called User Program Banks. On the BK-7m, it's called Performance Lists. But no matter, the idea is the same in each case. A multi-part song orchestration is saved as a collection of parts that are played sequentially, often by pressing a single foot pedal, as you will see me do. In addition, I have made some tonal edits that I hope reflect the sound of a large band entering an arena and coming to a halt at the very end of the song. Listen carefully and pay attention to the lights on the various part buttons that show how UP1, UP2, LWR, and MBS are being used in different combinations at different times as I play the melody line. As stated in a title page at the beginning of this video, you can download for free from the text description section the sheet music and orchestration file for the demonstration that you just saw, thus giving you an opportunity to try it out for yourself as an educational exercise. The sheet music shows you not only the melody line, but when to press the pedals if you use my orchestration file. Note, however, that for it to come out exactly as I play it, you have to configure your BK such that it properly plays all four voices, MBS, LWR, UP1, and UP2, on the treble side, as I will explain in the rest of this video. You also have to configure a pedal to activate the BK's Performance Next feature. That's how I'm able to progress through the performance, activating all 16 parts, each one at the appropriate time. Note that it would not be possible to play a piece such as this with so many voice changes using the One Touch feature. But before you agree to try this yourself, you might be wondering, are there any negative or undesirable operational consequences to configuring your BK as I suggest? Well, I did notice two. The first is when the Sync Start feature is active on the BK, playing notes on either MBS or LWR on the treble side will start the auto accompaniment. I spent a lot of time trying to see if I could prevent this, but I could not find a way. I suspect that MBS and LWR are somehow hardwired to activate the Sync Start feature. However, the good news is notes pressed using MBS or LWR on the treble side do not affect the chord progression of the auto accompaniment. That is, as I press notes, the chords of the auto accompaniment do not change. And since to adjust myself to the tempo, I always start each song with one of the BK's intros, which I do by activating Sync Start and then pressing a chord button before ever pressing a note on the treble side, it doesn't really matter if the treble side will start the auto accompaniment. Before I ever press a note on the treble side, the auto accompaniment has already started. So this is not a problem. A second and perhaps more important strange behavior that I have noticed is that if in my creation of an orchestration I adjust the octave parameter of LWR, when I save my performance, my adjustment is not saved. That is, the next time I turn my BK on and activate that particular performance memory, the octave parameter does not go to what I specified when I saved it. It reverts to whatever I specified as a startup default value. So I must keep in mind that when I create my orchestrations, I cannot adjust the octave parameter of LWR. But it may very well be that this anomaly was not caused by me transferring LWR from the bass to the treble side. It may have been a bug with LWR all along. I never actually verified that. Anyway, to me it's not really an important issue. Note that MBS does not seem to share this anomaly. That is, when saving a performance where I have edited the octave parameter of MBS, it does get properly saved, and it is properly recalled the next time I activate that performance memory on my instrument. Okay, so now you ask, exactly how did I accomplish this feat of transferring the MBS and LWR voices over from the bass side to the treble side? In principle, it's easy. You see, one aspect of MIDI as a control protocol is that it can be used to independently control 16 different devices, which it does using the concept of channels. Roland takes advantage of this in the default configuration of all their model V-Accordions by reserving MIDI channel number 1 for the treble section, MIDI channel number 2 for the bass note section, and MIDI channel number 3 for the bass chord section. So you see, as far as MIDI is concerned, a V-accordion is really 3 separate instruments. Cool, don't you think? And of course, the BK-7m's wizard takes advantage of that by assigning different BK features to the appropriate MIDI channels of the V-accordion. That is in fact the underlying mechanism that causes the auto accompaniment to respond to the bass section and not the treble section. The auto accompaniment feature listens for MIDI messages on channels 2 and 3, but not on channel 1. Hence, playing on the treble side does not cause chords of the auto accompaniment to change. It should come as no surprise to you then that the BK's wizard sets up the voice MBS to listen on MIDI channel number 2 and LWR to listen on MIDI channel number 3. To get them to respond to the treble section of the V-Accordion, I simply reconfigure them both myself to listen on MIDI channel number 1. These adjustments are conveniently done using the BK's MIDI menu. But there's no need for me to show these adjustments in video. I list every step in the text description section. You will also see from those instructions that you need to turn on the expression parameter of each voice. Otherwise, they will not properly respond to your bellows action. But if this is the very first time you have ever used any resident voices of the BK, you may find that all the voices, not just MBS and LWR, but UP1 and UP2 as well, do not respond properly either. In that case, you have not properly configured your V-Accordion to play the BK's treble voices in the first place, and you need to do that. To get any of the BK's resident treble voices to work correctly with bellows action, you have to ensure that 3 MIDI parameters, MIDI key velocity, MIDI TX expression, and MIDI bellows sensitivity, are properly adjusted. The names of these parameters are slightly different on different models of V-Accordion. For example, on some models, the MIDI bellows sensitivity is called MIDI TX resolution. Also, the amount of configuration needed differs from model to model. For example, on the FR4X, the MIDI TX expression parameter is already properly set by default. However, on other models, you may have to turn on that parameter yourself. I demonstrate how to properly make these adjustments on the FR4X in the video entitled Configuration to Play BK-7m UP1 and UP2. That video is posted in this channel. On other models, you will have to verify the corresponding parameters yourself. Well, that's it. If you perform the adjustments that I describe in the text description section of this video, you can enjoy 4 treble side resident voices in the melody lines that you play on the BK-7m. Everyone at RxEvent wishes you success on your V-Accordion and BK-7m.